Hi everyone, this is Tyler from University City District, and today I'm going to show you a little bit of our new Just Spaces tool. I'm not going to go through every function of the tool, but I'll try to cover the main parts. Feel free to email me at tyler@universitycity.org if you have any questions that I don't cover in this video. So this is what the site looks like. It's justspacesproject.org. So if you go there, you'll land on the About page. You can scroll through this page or use this simple menu here, and we go over how to use the tool, a few frequently asked questions, and just some background on the Just Spaces project. If you're new to the site, you can click Create an Account right here, and you'll be provided with a username and password. If you already have login credentials, you can just click Login here and enter those credentials. Your account will be linked to an agency or organization, which should be your organization or your company. The way the site is set up, you'll be able to create and run surveys or view data within your own organization, but your survey data is not viewable by users in other organizations. So you'll see here on the left, where my cursor is, it says Hello Tyler. So Tyler is my username, and University City District is my organization. There are a couple different permissions levels for users. There's the staff level, which is meant for a staff member of an organization or agency. A staff member can do pretty much everything from creating and editing surveys to conducting surveys or running surveys, and then also viewing collected data. There's also a permissions level called the field user. And the only thing field users can do is run surveys. So for example, if you're teaching a class and you want your students to be able to go out and run surveys, but you don't want them to be able to edit surveys or view the data that's been collected, field user accounts would be good for them. What you see on my page is what a staff user would see. So for field users, the only menu item here on the left that would be visible is Run Survey. The way that the Just Spaces tool is organized is that surveys are placed into a study. So you can have multiple surveys grouped within one study. So for example, if your organization has summer events and winter events, you might have one study called Summer Events and one study called Winter Events with multiple surveys within each of those studies. At UCD, we use the Just Spaces tool as one of our public spaces called the Porch at 30th Street Station in Philadelphia. So the survey data we're going to take a look at today, some of that has been put within our study, Porch Surveys. So if I were to click Porch Surveys here, I can see some metadata about the study, and then there are a few surveys within it. If you go to the admin drop-down area, you can click Studies, like I just did, to see a list of those studies. With this quick tutorial, we're going to start with the Create New Survey menu option. So that's up here on the menu on the left. I'm just going to make a fake survey right now, and I will name it Fake Survey. And I'm going to assign it to be part of Porch Surveys, so that's the name of the study, like I just discussed. And just because that's already been created. And now we're going to assign a location to the study, and this is the location where the study will be conducted or run. This is mostly important from a documentation standpoint. So this menu, this drop-down menu, contains locations that we've already created. You can see a whole list of them here. If you have a new account, it's likely that this will be empty if no one from your agency has created locations yet. But to create a new location, you can just click right here where it says Create a New One. And that'll bring you to a page where you can create a location on this map. I won't go into that too much right now, but let's just choose a random location. We'll say Porch West. So the Just Spaces tool supports both intercept surveys, where you'll stop a person. You might be in a public space and you'll stop a person and ask them questions or ask them to complete the survey. And then the tool also supports observational surveys. and um, and that's more like where you'll be sitting in a public space or any sort of space, and you'll be observing the users of that space. Um, so right here, under type, you'll choose what type of survey you'll be creating. So let's say observational in this case. This last field is optional, but we have a few pre-made survey templates to help get you started if you want. We have a few different templates for intercept surveys and a couple for observational surveys as well. A couple options that are geared towards public space usage or park usage, and then a few that are geared toward events. So if you do want to use those templates, it's possible to tweak them a little. So you can add questions, remove questions, edit questions as you see fit. But those, if you're not really sure where to start, those can be a good jumping off section. So we're not going to use one of the templates. Let's just hit submit. And then this will take us to the edit survey section. And this is where we will add survey questions, we'll delete survey questions, we'll edit survey questions. On the left-hand menu here, if we were to click edit survey, that would bring us to a similar page where we'll just select the survey to edit. And the one we just made is fake survey. Okay, so here's where we add survey questions. Right now, the survey is empty, but if you chose one of the provided templates, there would be those questions, those template questions here. So let's say you are evaluating usage of a park, and you want to compare demographics of park users to the demographics of the surrounding neighborhood. Some survey questions that might be appropriate are, what are the perceived races of the users, what are the perceived ages of the users, and then we also support questions from the Gale Public Life Data Protocol. Like, for example, this activity question, which is, how many people do you see engaged in each activity? For some of these questions, there are different levels of detail that you can set. For example, for this activity question I just clicked, we have basic choices and detailed choices. Right here on this page, you can see examples of what basic and detailed might mean. So basic might just give some more vague options of what park users might be doing, while detailed gets a little finer detail. I think basic will probably be most useful in many cases, but you never know. There are also, not every question has these basic and detailed choices, but also for things like how many people do you see of each age, there are different levels of scale. So there might be age bins that are 5 years, so you might fill out that you see a few people between the ages of 0 and 5, a few people between the ages of 5 and 10, etc. Or they might have broader bins, so you might say you see 8 people between the ages of 0 and 18, and then 6 people between the ages of 19 and 45, for example. So there are different levels of detail that you can go into, and you just have to strike a balance between data quality and ease of data collection, which could, of course, affect data quality if it's too difficult to collect the data. So yeah, let's just add one of these questions here. So you can see we just added that activity question with the basic options, and then maybe we want to add a perceived race question. So that's just how many people of each perceived race do you see? You might add that question, and then you might want to add one more, which is maybe age. So here's the example of the basic, detailed, or more complex choices that I just talked about. So we've just added 3 questions to our survey, and let's say that's all we really want to study in our public space. You can edit these questions as much as you'd like, but once you're ready to publish the survey, you just click publish, and after you've published the survey, you can't go back and edit it. And the rationale behind that is that once you start collecting data and start running surveys, I think it's probably best practice to not be able to go back and edit the survey so that there's some continuity in the data collection. Of course, you are able to create new surveys if you want to just tweak it a little bit, but once a survey is published, it cannot be edited again. Okay, so now we're in the Run Survey section. So when you go to conduct your survey, you'll just click Run Survey at the left-hand side menu here. And that will just bring us to this page we're seeing right here. And you'll just click the survey that you want to run. So say you want to run this observational survey that I just created called Fake Survey. Say you want to run that survey every hour of a day, for example. So you'll just start at each hour and you'll click Run Survey, and you'll just fill out these fields. So say you're sitting in a public space, and at 9 a.m. you see 2 people buying or selling goods, 8 people consuming food or drink, 1 person waiting for transportation, 5 people exercising. And then you can do the same for the other questions. So let's say you see 3 African American people in the park, 1 white person, and maybe 9 people who, according to your perception, seem like they are Hispanic or Latino. Obviously, this is just the surveyor's perception. That could be wrong, but that's just a consideration of this sort of data collection. So once you've done that, you click Submit, and your data have then been submitted. So say you did that at 8 o'clock and you want to come back and do it at 9 o'clock, you'll just click Run again, or go to the Run Survey menu option, and you do the exact same thing. Now, once you've collected your data by running a survey, you can view the collected data. So on the left-hand side menu, you will click View Collected Data, and you'll choose the survey for which you want to view the data. So I'm going to click, I'm not going to use Fake Survey in this case because I haven't really actually collected data with that survey since I just made it. But in this case, I'm going to click Locust Walk Patio, which was another sort of tutorial or example observation survey that I did this fall on the University of Pennsylvania's campus here in Philadelphia. You can see the collected data in this table at the top, and you can download this table as a CSV if you'd like. So you can just download this and visualize it or do whatever you want with it in whatever program or language you like to work in. But also, I think a great thing about the Just Spaces tool is that you can also visualize data within the tool. And I think this is one of the most useful parts, and it really gets at the question of who's using a public space or who's not using public space. And the way that you can get at some of those answers is by comparing the data that you've collected to census areas and to census data. So let's click Add New Chart here to visualize some of the data from that Locust Walk observational survey that was conducted at UPenn. And let's click, let's see. This survey had 4 questions in it. One that was age, one that was perceived gender, perceived race, and then how many people do you see in each posture. So that was a question from the Gale Public Life Data protocol. So let's choose the perceived race question to visualize in this example. When you click that, you'll see a bar plot of the results of the survey. So on the x-axis of the plot, you might see that there's a date, and that's just the date that the data were collected. So that's August 5th. And it says 3 surveys because the survey was run 3 times that day. So it looks like when I ran this survey back in August, it looks like I perceived a little more than 40% of the people who are using that public space to be black. About the same proportion I perceived as white, and then about 15% of the users in that public space I perceived as Asian. So, and that's aggregated over the 3 runs of that survey that I did back in August. And when you're thinking of the question, who's not using this public space, that's where comparing to census areas comes in. So I'm going to use the Compare to Census drop-down menu here, and I'm going to choose Penn. So these are just census areas that I've created, or that others within my agency have created, others within University City District. So Penn was just geography that was created a few census block groups around the University of Pennsylvania. So once I click Penn, those bars will show up in pink, and those are the demographics of those census block groups, compared to, in green, the demographics of the survey that was run in August. So for that example data I just showed you, maybe we will also want to compare race breakdown from that public space on UPenn's campus to a few census block groups near Temple University's campus, which is in North Philly. So in that case, I'm going to create a new census area, and I'm going to call that maybe surrounding Temple. And then I'm just going to zoom into where Temple is in North Philly, around Broad and CCB Moore, and I'm just going to select a few block groups by just clicking them. And if I want to deselect, I just click again. But let's say I want to select these few groups. Okay. Once we've done that, we will click Submit. And then we'll go back to that View Collected Data page, and we will use the drop-down menu to I guess I should refresh. We will use this drop-down menu to compare to the Surround Temple group. So interestingly, this survey that was run on Penn's campus looks pretty similar to the demographics of the census areas surrounding Temple University. That's kind of just coincidence. And then if you want to compare your collected data to multiple census groups, you can go ahead and add another. So I'm going to add Penn back into that. You have your legend on bottom. So in light green here is your collected data. In this case, blue is the demographics of the census block groups surrounding University of Pennsylvania, and pink are for the census areas surrounding Temple University. So there you go. So if you wanted to get at the question of who's not using this space, you could look at the disparities between your collected data and the surrounding area. I forgot to mention that this tool is mobile friendly, so if you want to go out and collect data in a public space, you don't have to lug a laptop out there. You can do it straight from a smartphone or a tablet, and it's set up for that. I have found that viewing the data is probably easiest on a desktop or laptop computer, and creating the census areas with maps is probably easier on a computer, but this is all, the data collection is definitely meant to be done on a mobile device. So yeah, those are just the basics of using the Just Spaces tool. During the development process, a line that one of my colleagues used a lot was, quote, democratizing data science. And we were really hoping that smaller organizations or volunteer groups, or maybe just nonprofits that don't have the capacity to support a researcher or data scientist, that they could find the tool useful. We're really excited about the direction of this project, and we're really eager to hear any feedback. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me at tyler@universitycity.org. And I'll just add that the tool is all open source, so anyone is free to take a look at the code, which can be found at Datamade's GitHub page. And that, I believe, is linked on the About page here. So if you want to take a look at their code, you can look at their GitHub repository here. So again, if you have any questions, please email me at tyler@universitycity.org, and I hope you find the tool useful. All right, thank you.